Part 2 of Chapter 8. Part 2 of Chapter 8 of book Think and Grow Rich by Robert T. Kiyosaki. And the 10th point, teach and you shall receive the power of giving. Both of my dads were teachers. My rich dad taught me a lesson I have carried all my life, the necessity of being charitable or giving. My educated dad gave a lot of his time and knowledge, but almost never gave away money. He usually said that he would give when he had some extra money, but of course there was rarely any extra. My rich dad gave money as well as education. He believed firmly in teaching. If you want something, you first need to give. He would always say when he was short of money, he gave money to his church or to his favorite charity. If I could leave one single idea with you, it is that idea. Whenever you feel short or in need of something, give what you want first and it will come back in buckets. That is true for money, a smile, or love, or friendship. I know it is often the last thing a person you may want to do, but it has always worked for me. I trust that principle of reciprocity is true and I give what I want. I want money, so I give money and it comes back in multiples. I want sales, so I help someone else sell something and sales come to me. I want contracts and I help someone else get contracts. Like magic, contracts come to me. I heard a saying years ago that went, God does not need to receive but humans need to give. My rich dad would often say poor people are more greedy than rich people. He would explain that if a person was rich, that person was providing something that other people wanted. In my life, whenever have felt needy or short of money or short of help, I simply went out or found in my heart that I wanted and decided to give it first, and when I gave it always come back. It reminds me of the story of the guy sitting with firewood in his arms on a cold, freezing night. He is yelling at the pot, believed stop, belied stop. When you give me some heat, then I will put some wood in you. And when it comes to money, love, happiness, sales, and contracts, all one needs to remember it to give first. Often, just the process of thinking of what I want and how I could give that someone else break free a torrent of bounty. Whenever I feel that people are not smiling me, I simply begin smiling and saying hello. Like magic, the next thing I know, I am surrounded by smiling people. It's true that your world is only a mirror of you. So that's why I say teach and you shall receive. I have found that the more I teach those who wants to learn, the more I learn. If you want to learn about money, teach it to someone else. A torrent of new idea and finer distinctions will come in. There are times when I have given and nothing has come back, or what I have received is not what I wanted. But upon closer inception and soul searching, I often giving to receive. In those instances, giving instead of giving for the joy that giving itself brings. My dad taught teachers and he became a master teacher. My rich dad always taught young people his way of doing business. In retrospect, it was their generosity with what they knew that made them smarter. There are powers in this world that are much smarter than we are. You can get there on your own, but it's easier with the help of the power that be. You only need to be generous with what you have. Study session of chapter 8 getting started. Yep. It is easy to find great deals. It's just like riding a bike after a little wobbling. It's a piece of cake. But when it comes to money, it takes determination to get through the wobbling. You must awaken the financial genius sleeping within order to find these great deals. Our culture has told us that the love of money is the root of all evil, that we just need to find a profession and work hard, and government will take care of us when we are old. The message is still to work hard, earn money, and spend it. And when we run short, we can always borrow more, and that is why for so many of us, our financial genius within is asleep. But we must awaken for that financial genius in order to find $1 million deals of a lifetime. It's far easier to simply find a job and work for money, but that is not the path to wealth. If you want to go against the masses, Robert offers the thought process he goes through every day. 10 steps that you can use to awaken your financial genius. Follow the ones you want or make up your own. Your financial genius is up to the task. Find a reason greater than reality, the power of spirit. Many want to be rich or financially free, but they turn away because the road seems so difficult to get there, like a future Olympic swimmers who sacrifice time and social engagements in order to put in hours at the pool and studying hard. People need a strong, clear goal or reason in order to push through the obstacles. A reason or a purpose is a combination of wants and don't wants, just like Robert's reason for wanting to be rich. First, his don't wants as those great he wants. He didn't want to work his whole life. He didn't want job security and a house in the suburbs. Unlike his parents, he didn't like an employee and didn't want to stay busy working his on his career to be detriment of his time with loved ones, only to have the government take most of what he worked when he dies, as happened with his father. What does he want? Robert wants to be free to travel the world while young and live the lifestyle he loved. He wants to be free and have control over his time. He wants his money to work for him. Like Robert, you must have strong enough emotional reasons behind wanting to be rich to sustain your through setbacks. Robert has lost money many times, but he kept going because his reason was strong enough. He wanted to be free by 40, but it took until he was 47. Becoming rich wasn't easy, but it wasn't that hard either. But if Robert hadn't had a strong reason behind it, it wouldn't have incredibly difficult. If you don't have a strong enough reason, Robert asks you to not read further, as it will sound like too much work. Make daily choices the power of choice. You have the choice every day whether to be rich, poor, or middle class. Your spending habits reflect who you are. The poor have poor spending habits. Long ago, Robert closed to be rich. His friend Mike, after inheriting a healthy asset column, chosen to learn how to keep it, which is not the default situation when rich families pass on their assets to the next generation. Most people choose not to be rich. They tell themselves they are not interested in money, or that they are young and don't need to worry about it yet, or myriad other excuses. But those excuses rob them of their time, their most precious asset and learning. We all have the choices every single day what we do with our time and money and what we put in our heads. Robert chooses to be rich and makes that choice every day. He asks people to invest first in education, as our mind is the most powerful tool. Once we are old enough, we all have the choice of what we put in our brains, but instead of choosing to invest in learning, most people simply buy investment. To continue his own learning, Robert goes to at least two seminars each year. In 1973, he went to a 3 day seminar on buying real estate with nothing down. He spent $385 on the seminar, and it made him at least $2 million and enabled him to have to work for the rest of his life. Robert also thinks Robert also likes CDs and free. Uh, Robert also likes CDs and audiobooks so he can review what he just heard. One time he was listening to an investor he disagreed with, but after listening to the talk 20 times, he finally understood why the man said what he said. He was able to grasp that because he kept his mind open even though he originally disagreed with the investor. Now he has two ways of analyzing problems, which is priceless. Robert has chosen to read or listen to what a number of people think, from Donald Trump to George Soros, and that gives him access to their mental power. When you learn something new, you often make people mistakes. You often must make mistakes to fully understand it. Arrogant or critical people are afraid of taking risks, so they often want to listen to experts. It is not a question of intelligence. Intelligence people can be ignorant if they combine their smarts with arrogance. A truly intelligent person, on the other hand, welcomes new ideas. New ideas can combine with already accumulated ones and results in something great. Listen, learn. Take a long view of wealth, not a get rich quick mentality. Invest in your greatest asset, your mind, before investing in stocks or real estates. 3. Choose friends carefully. The power of association. Robert learns from all his friends, but both those who have money seeking their knowledge and those who struggle financially. The latter group teaches him what not to do. He says several of his friends who have generated more than $1 billion all report the same phenomena. Their friends who have no money never ask them how they did it, they just ask for a job or a loan or both. Robert wants us not to listen to poor or frightened people. To them, when it comes to investment, the sky is always falling. They can always tell you why something won't work. Any panel of experts will have one who says the market is going to crash and another who says it's going to boom. Listen to both because both have valid points. Be true to yourself and don't go along with the crowd. This can be one of the hardest parts of wealth building. The crowd usually shows up too late to a great deal. Instead, look for a new deal, a prospect that can be frightened. Don't try to time the market, get in position for the next wave. Wise investors buy an investment when it's not popular. They know their profits are made when they buy, not when they sell. It's all about insider trading, the legal forms of it. Being close to the insider, having rich friends who have information on where the money is being made. You want to hear about the next boom, get in and then get out before the next burst. That's what friends are for, and that's what financial intelligence is. Fourth, master a formula and then learn a new one. The power of learning quickly. Be careful what you learn because you become what you put in your head. The masses have one basic formula: go to work, earn money, pay bills, balance checkbooks, buy some mutual funds, and go back to work. If you are not making enough, you need to change the formula. Years ago, Robert took a weekend class called How to Buy Real Estate Forecloses. He learned a formula and put into action, making several $1 million in the process. So he went in search of new formulas. He didn't always direct us the new information, but he always learning. Many colleges has have classes on financial planning and buying traditional investments. It's a good place to start. But Robert is always searching for a faster formula. He says that's why he can make money in a day more than many will make in their lifetime. And it's not just about faster formulas but learning new formulas faster. Pay yourself first. The power of self-discipline. Of all the steps, self-discipline may be the most difficult to master if it's not part of your makeup, but personal self-discipline is the number one delineating factor between the rich, the poor, and the middle class. The world pushes you around and puts pressure on you, and if you don't have the tolerance for financial pressure, you will never become rich. Robert teaches students in his entrepreneurship classes that the three most important management skills to starting a business are management of cash flow, people, and personal time. These apply to everyone, not just entrepreneurs, and each of these skills is enhanced by the master of self discipline. Mastery of self discipline. Through many repeat the statement, pay yourself first. Few have the discipline to put into practice. Compare these two diagrams. People who pay themselves first, people who pay everyone else. Themselves first वाले job, income, assets. Job, income, expenses. इनका आएगा assets के अंदर से expenses then income. Follow the flow of money and see how these individuals pay themselves first via investing in the asset column before paying bills. This doesn't mean you don't pay your bills responsibly, it just reasons means to pay yourself first. You can see how paying someone else first leaves little or nothing left to invest in the asset column. It has happening to Robert and to others that there were times when the cash flow wasn't enough to cover paying themselves first in the bills. They paid themselves first anyway. It takes internal fortitude when the bills collector are screaming, but it makes investing in assets a priority and leading leads to becoming rich. To successfully pay yourself first, don't get into large debt position that you have to pay for. Keep your expenses low, build your assets first, then buy the big house or nice car. When you come up short, let the pressure build and don't dip into your saving or investment. Use the pressure to inspire your financial genius to come up with new ways of making more money and then pay your bills. You will have increased and your ability to make more money as well as your financial intelligence. Remember that this rule does not encourage self sacrifice or financial abstinence. It doesn't mean pay yourself first and starve. Life was meant to be enjoyed. If you call on your financial genius, you can have all the goodies of life. Get rich and pay bills. Pay your brokers well. The power of good advice. Many people try to save a few dollars by using discount brokers or selling their house on their own. But not only do good professionals save your time, they make you money. Information is priceless. A good broker should provide you with information as well as making you money. Learn from them. In truth, what you pay them is tiny in comparison with what kind of money you can make with the information they give you. Not all brokers are created equally. Interview them and find out how much property or investment they own. Find one who has your best interest at heart and treat him or her fairly. Companies have a companies have a board of directors because they know the value in having people smarter than they are around. You should have a board of directors to be an Indian giver the power of getting something for nothing. The term Indian giver arose out of a cultural misunderstanding. When the first enter European settlers come to the New World, if a settler was cold, an Indian would give the person a blanket. The settler mistook it for a gift and was offended when the Indian asked for it back. The Indians got upset when the settler did not want to set it back. It was a misunderstanding of what the transaction was. In terms of investing in the asset column, it's key to be an Indian giver, that is getting your initial investment back and quickly. One example is a condo robot bought with cash for $50,000. It rented in the high season for $2,500 and for the $1,000 the rest of the year. Within about 3 years, it paid for itself in essence. Robert's original 50,000 was back in his pocket, and the asset continues to make him money month in month out. Some don't like the risk and prefer to keep their money in a saving account, but there's not making anything and they don't get anything for free with it. For each of his investment, Robert says there must be an upside, something for free, like a mini storage, a piece of free land, stock shares, a house, and there must be limited risk. 8. Use assets to buy luxuries. The power of focus. Robert loves luxuries as much as the next person, but he won't borrow money for them, instead, focusing on the asset column to create the money to buy those luxuries. He shares the example of a friend whose teenage son wanted a car rather than buy it himself or have the son use his saving for it, and the father gave him $3,000 and some information on the stock market and told him he couldn't use that $3,000 directly to buy a car. He had to invest in, and when he had made $6,000, he could use for that for a car, and the original 3,000 would go into his college fund. Although the son had yet to realize that profit, his interest in learning grew sky high. He was learning a lesson that would serve him well in life. Growing asset in order to pay for the things he wanted. Developing cash flow from an asset column is easy in theory, but hard in the mental fortitude to direct money to the correct use. Borrowing money is easy in the short term, but harder in the long run. Choose heroes. The power of myth. One of the most powerful ways to learn as children is pretended to be pretending to be our heroes. Robert continues what that as an adult, though his heroes have changed, instead of pretending to be William R. Mays at bat, he channels the bravado of Trump while negotiating a deal, or the analytical skill of Warren Buffett when looking at the trends. By having heroes, we tap into their genius, and because they make it look easy, they inspire us to try. 10th, teach and you shall receive the power of giving. जो अभी वीडियो की स्टार्टिंग में किया था वही दोबारा आ गया. Robert learned from rich dad to give money as well as education. He would say, if you want something, you first need to give. When he was short of money, he gave to his church or to his favorite charity. Whenever you feel in need of something, whether that's money, smile, love, or friendship, give it first, and it will come back in buckets. This is also true in teaching. The more you teach, the more you learn. Both of Robert's dad proved that. Be generous with what you have and make sure you are giving for the joy that giving you itself brings, not giving simply to receive. Left hemisphere movement. Use self-discipline to pay yourself first in order to protect the priority of growing your asset column. Right hemisphere movement. Keep your mind open to new ideas and the new ways of doing things, that these can add to the synergy of other accumulated ideas. Subconscious movement. Harness the deep-seated emotional reasons you want to become rich. Make them strong, and they will help you weather the obstacles along the road to wealth. What was Robert saying? What was Robert saying? This is the same. There is gold everywhere. Most people are not trained to see it. Without a strong reason or purpose, anything in life is hard. Financially, with every dollar we get in our hands, we hold the power to choose our future, to be rich, poor, or middle class. 90% of the population buys TV sets, and only about 10% buy business books. Each of us knows people who are highly educated or believe they are smart by their, but their balance sheets paints a different picture. I have noticed that my friends with money talk about money. They don't do it to brag, they are interested in the subject, so I learn from them and they learn from me. If you are tired of what you are doing, or you are not making enough, it's simply a case of changing the formula via which you can make money. People who lack internal fortitude often become victims of those who have self-discipline. I have lost money on many occasions, but I only play with money I can afford to lose. The easy road often becomes hard, and the hard road becomes often easy. Additional questions. This is the same. What are the reason you want to be rich? Your wants and don't wants. Would Robert think they are strong enough? Are your spending habits reflecting the life you want? If not, what can you change? What can you change? What are you choosing to put in your head every day? When was the last time you took a seminar or read a business book other than this one? What have you learned from your friends about finances, good or bad? Would you say your self-discipline muscle is in shape or needs a good workout? Sixth, do you have a board of directors, brokers, and other professionals you pay well for their excellent information and ability to make you money in your life? Do you understand the concept put forth in step 7? If not, discuss it with your study partner. The last time you purchased a luxury, how did you pay for it? Who is your financial hero? How do you emulate this person in your actions? Term definition: ROI, return of investment. We have completed our 8th chapter of book Think and Grow Rich by Robert T. Kiyosaki. Next video we are going to do this chapter 9. Still want more? Here are some to-dos. And it's not a very long chapter. It's only 28 pages. And तो 3 4 ओह 6.5 पेज की समरी है. 2 4 6 8 10 12 13 14 15 16 मिनट की वीडियो होगी बस. ओके, थैंक यू, बाय बाय.